I'm Donna, and this is Some Bold Adventure. I just got back from a hiking trip in Papua New Guinea. If you've watched my other videos, you know I went trekking there before. There's a whole series. It documents my trip to walk the same trail my grandfather took during World War II. As much as I struggled on that trip, I decided to go back for an all-new trek, going to see the recently rediscovered World War II plane wreck of the Flying Dutchman. I made a short video telling a bit of the story of the Dutchman, which I will link to. I'll be creating videos for this trip too, but it's going to take a while. So for now, I just want to give an overview of the route we took through satellite videos, which highlight just how remote it is here. To get to the starting point of this trek, we took a bush plane, landing on a grass airstrip in a village called WWII. The only access is either to walk in or to fly. So we boarded the charter flight in Port Moresby and flew in. The village turned out to welcome us, and then we started our trek. So from WWII on our first day of hiking, we walked to the village of Laronu. This was a beautiful walk along the river, nothing too intense here by Papua New Guinea standards. It wasn't anything too steep, too complicated. I mean, it's hot there. But it was a beautiful walk. We passed through a handful of other villages where we got amazing welcomes, and they would greet us with food and music and dancing. We did get to try out some of the Papua New Guinea bridges. But this was a nice, gentle walk for the first day. Just very scenic, very gentle on us for a first day. And ended in the village of Laronu, where we had an amazing welcome. We got to try out another bridge. And just a beautiful location. You can kind of get an idea of how remote it is, that there's nothing around for as far as you can see other than a few villages dotted along the river. So we spent the night in a hut in Laronu. And the next day we were to hike to a bush camp that the porters had built for us. This was a more complicated hike. It was pretty much going up the mountains all day long, and it was exhausting. I feel like you cannot even see just how steep it really was here. We did have a break for some coconuts and some other fruits and things, which was amazing. They make a big difference when you're hiking. We had this scenic overview of the village of Laronu, and then off to climb up the mountain some more, fascinated by these giant acorns and the giant canopy overhead. And up we went. This is where we stopped for lunch. They always put a kettle on so you could have coffee or tea. There's my lunch. And we continued on up to the bush camp that they had built for us. Erikareya was the name of it, and they greeted us there with music and dancing, and we set up tents and spent the night there at the bush camp. Next day we left this camp to go to another bush camp, this one being closer to the Flying Dutchman wreck site. Again, another long day of uphill. Again, you can see how there's nothing else around here. It is nothing but jungle. And the vegetation started to change in here as we got higher elevation. It started to be a little more jungle looking. This is a giant root ball from a fallen tree. We entered into the moss forest where everything is covered in moss. That's another lunch break. And it just really started to look exotic in here. And then we made it to our next bush camp that they had built for us, and that's where we would spend the night in tents again. The next day would take us to the wreck of the Flying Dutchman. I told a little of the story of the Flying Dutchman in a short video that I have here on YouTube. I won't go into too much of the details now, but it's quite a story that's both tragic and inspiring as a story of survival. The walk there is really amazing. The vegetation, it just seems so almost alien. And then you come to the wreck of this World War II airplane with the star still on the side. And what really got me were the helmets. It did not occur to me that there would be helmets at the wreck site. And it was a really intense moment to see that wreck after hearing the story of it for so many years. This was an easier hike in that it was not as long as our other days. We went out and back in the same day to visit the wreck site and then returned to the camp we'd stayed at the night before. And from there, the next day we hiked back to our other bush camp. They took down the tarps, leaving the structures behind that they had built for the camp. And we began a long, long day of going downhill. This went a lot faster than uphill, but it turns out it was really equally exhausting. You just get so tired of going downhill all the time. Your muscles are just screaming and your knees are screaming. I leaned so hard on my hiking pole I hurt my hand, and it ended up being useless the next day. This is a different kind of struggle from climbing all day, but it was still very difficult. I also feel like these videos don't really do it justice to just how steep this is. From that camp, we had another long, long day of descending to get back to the village of Laronu. At this point, your legs are exhausted. They just don't want to take another step. It almost feels good to go uphill for a moment, just to give your legs a chance to move in a little bit different direction than what they've been doing. It was great to make it back to Laronu. It is such a beautiful village, and it was nice to be there again to spend one more night. And the next day was our last day of walking. We left the village of Laronu and passed through the other villages along the way. This was the same hike we'd taken on the first day to come in. Beautiful walk along the river, much easier than what we'd been doing for the last handful of days. This was a great way to finish out the walk, to get to see the other beautiful villages and make our way to Dorabasoro. And Dorabasoro is where the airstrip is. You can see it here, and that's where the plane would come pick us up. So that is just a short preview of the route we took through the mountains. I will make a full video series on this trip. Just going to take me some time to put that together. But please subscribe to my channel and come back to see the rest of it, because there is so much more of this story that needs to be told. Thanks for watching.